There are forces within a woman's mind she does not command, impulses that rise unbidden, shaping her desires, her fears, and even her loyalties. There is in every woman a silent drama, a play that unfolds not upon the stage of reason, but within the dim corridors of her unconscious. She may believe she knows herself, that her choices are her own. Yet beneath the veil of awareness move hidden forces, directing her long before she becomes aware of them. To understand her psyche is to uncover not what she admits, but what she conceals, even from herself. The foundation of the human psyche is not built upon reason or conscious will, but upon a vast reservoir of hidden forces that stir beneath awareness. In the female mind, these unconscious drives are not passive or silent. They are powerful, shaping her choices, reactions, and even the very way she understands herself. She may speak of reason, logic, or conscious decision, yet long before she utters words or acts with intent, impulses buried deep within her unconscious are already at work, whispering commands she does not recognize as her own. These hidden impulses are not inventions of the moment, but echoes of a much older inheritance, stretching back through childhood, experiences, primal instincts, and even ancient archetypes carried forward through generations. The unconscious does not operate in clear daylight, but in symbols, disguises, and shadows. It does not declare its truth openly, but cloaks its desires in dreams, slips of the tongue, sudden moods, and unexpected longings. For the female psyche, this often takes the form of sudden attraction, unexplainable fear, or an emotional response that contradicts what she consciously believes she wants. She may insist that her choices are guided by deliberate thought, yet her unconscious reveals its hand. When she finds herself drawn to what she should avoid, or restless when stability surrounds her, her outward life becomes the stage upon which these hidden drives perform their drama, even if she refuses to acknowledge them. Much of this conflict begins in the early years of life, where impressions of family bonds, unspoken expectations, and suppressed emotions are quietly stored away. A daughter's first experiences with love, rivalry, and longing toward her parents remain etched into her unconscious and continue to influence her relations. Long after she has grown, what she calls attraction or repulsion in adulthood often carries the shape of these earliest experiences. She is not aware of it, for the unconscious does not simply repeat but transforms, hiding the old impulse in a new disguise. The man she falls for, the rival she envies, the fear she cannot name, all these often find their roots in unconscious drives that have been waiting, patiently, to reveal themselves. The unconscious is also a reservoir of contradictions. Within it, desire and rejection coexist, love is interwoven with hatred, and loyalty may mask betrayal. The female psyche is especially marked by this duality. She may consciously pursue stability and devotion, while unconsciously seeking passion and danger. She may reject a person publicly while secretly desiring the qualities she denies. This conflict, hidden beneath the surface, explains the complexity of her emotional life and why her choices often appear contradictory to outsiders. The unconscious is not bound by logic, it is bound by instinct, memory, and suppressed longing. Dreams offer the clearest evidence of these hidden forces. In dreams, symbols bypass the censorship of conscious thought, the forbidden desire, the repressed memory, the unspoken jealousy. These emerge as strange images, surreal stories, or haunting figures. To the untrained eye, they appear as nonsense. Yet each dream, if examined closely, is the voice of the unconscious speaking in its own cryptic language. A woman may awaken confused by her dream, dismissing it as meaningless, but it is in those moments that her unconscious has spoken most honestly, unfiltered by reason. Her outward behavior, too, often reveals unconscious drives in subtle but undeniable ways. A sudden blush when meeting a stranger, an unexplainable dislike of another woman, an impulse to sabotage her own success. These are not acts of conscious planning, but eruptions of the unconscious into daily life. They betray the hidden currents guiding her from within. She cannot always explain why she feels what she feels, because explanation belongs to the conscious mind, while experience belongs to the unconscious. The hidden drives do not require her permission. They act, and only afterward does she search for reasons that make sense to her conscious self. The unconscious is therefore not an accessory to her mind, but its very foundation. Without understanding these hidden forces, her actions and emotions remain a puzzle even to herself. She may think she knows her reasons, yet behind those reasons lies another reality, one that resists her control and speaks in the language of impulse, conflict, and desire. Desire is never simple, never purely what it appears to be. Beneath the surface of conscious thought, it carries a dual nature, at once magnetic and forbidden. A woman may insist that she knows what she wants, yet often her unconscious compels her toward what she consciously rejects. This is because repression does not destroy desire, it only redirects it, disguises it, and transforms it into something more dangerous. The very act of forbidding gives desire its intensity. What she is told she must not seek becomes more alluring, not less, for the unconscious thrives on the hidden, the veiled, and the unattainable. Repression works like a mask. A woman may present herself as loyal, reserved, or even indifferent, yet behind this mask the unconscious nurtures impulses that contradict her outward demeanor. A glance she quickly denies, an attraction she covers with hostility, or a recurring fantasy she would never admit. These reveal that what is repressed is never destroyed. It continues to operate in secret, shaping her actions indirectly, pushing her toward conflict, contradiction, and unrest. Her conscious words may declare one truth, but her unconscious behavior betrays another. The unconscious also ensures that forbidden desire finds symbolic outlets. What cannot be expressed openly emerges in disguised forms, through dreams, slips of the tongue, or irrational choices. A woman may dream of a figure she outwardly despises, the image clothed in strange symbols that veil its meaning. She may speak an accidental word that reveals her longing. She may sabotage her own relationships in pursuit of something she refuses to admit she craves. Repression, then, does not silence desire, it forces it to speak in riddles. This conflict between what is desired and what is forbidden creates a constant tension within her. The repression demands obedience to social, moral, or personal boundaries, while desire seeks to break them. This tension manifests as unease, anxiety, or sudden bursts of emotion. It explains why she may appear restless even in stability, why she feels dissatisfied with what she believes should fulfill her. Her unconscious does not negotiate with reason, it does not obey rules. It pulls her toward the very thing she has sworn to avoid. What is most striking is that repression often strengthens the forbidden. The more she denies, the more powerful the impulse becomes. The shadow grows darker the longer it is hidden. The unconscious stores the energy of every suppressed longing, waiting for an opportunity to erupt. When it finally emerges, it does so with a force that surprises even her, leading to actions she cannot explain and choices she later regrets. Desire, when repressed, becomes an inner storm. At the same time, repression serves a necessary function. Without it, raw desire would flood every corner of her life, destroying social order, relationships, and even her sense of self. Yet in serving this function, repression creates its own suffering. She becomes divided, one self at war with another. She presents reason and restraint to the world, while within her, passion and instinct demand recognition. This hidden division explains the paradox of her emotions, why she may despise what she desires or desire what she despises. Her relationships, too, are shaped by this duality. She may pursue stability while secretly craving danger, remain loyal yet fantasize about betrayal, or display coldness while internally burning with attraction. These contradictions are not evidence of weakness or dishonesty, but the inevitable result of the unconscious at work. The forbidden becomes the very essence of longing, and repression ensures it will never cease to haunt her. Dreams are not mere illusions of sleep, nor meaningless wanderings of a resting mind. They are the disguised stage where the unconscious reveals its forbidden truths. Every dream carries with it the weight of hidden desires, repressed fears, and unspoken impulses. What cannot be uttered in daylight finds its voice in the silence of night, clothed in symbols that resist immediate understanding. A woman's dreams, in particular, serve as windows into the deep chambers of her psyche, showing not only what she consciously avoids, but also what she secretly longs for. In dreams, nothing is accidental. Every image, however strange or fragmented, carries significance. A locked door may stand for a desire she cannot permit herself to open, A flight through endless corridors may mirror her attempt to escape the pull of temptation. A stranger who appears in passion or terror often embodies a figure she recognizes but cannot admit to desiring or fearing. The unconscious, clever in its disguises, bends symbols to conceal and reveal simultaneously. To the waking mind, these images appear absurd, but to the hidden self, they are precise reflections of inner conflict. The dream also serves as a compromise between repression and desire. The conscious self insists upon order, morality, and restraint, while the unconscious demands expression. In the dream, both forces meet. Desire disguises itself, slipping past the guard of repression in forms the conscious mind does not at once recognize. Thus, a forbidden attraction may appear as a metaphor, displaced figure, or a twisted narrative that makes sense only when the hidden logic of the unconscious is considered. In this way, dreams are the disguised fulfillment of wishes. Wishes she cannot admit while awake. Repetition is another striking feature. A woman may find herself revisiting the same place, meeting the same shadow, or reliving the same encounter across different nights. This recurrence is not accidental, but the insistence of the unconscious, returning again and again to what has not been resolved. Each repetition intensifies the demand, pressing her toward recognition of what lies beneath. The dream does not allow repression to bury desire forever. It brings it back again and again like a haunting. Dreams also betray the presence of conflict. They rarely present desire in pure, unopposed form. Instead, the forbidden and the permissible collide, producing surreal contradictions. A figure may appear as both lover and enemy. A scene may shift suddenly from ecstasy to dread, and what begins in pleasure may collapse into guilt. This duality mirrors the constant war within her, the pull of instinct against the chains of repression. The dream becomes the battlefield, where these forces struggle without resolution. Symbols within her dreams often borrow from her waking life. They are distorted and reassembled into new forms. A smartphone in her dream may glow like a forbidden flame, representing not technology itself, but an unreachable intimacy. A mirror may refuse to show her reflection, symbolizing her uncertainty about who she truly is beneath her masks. A house may collapse around her, expressing the fragility of the structures she builds to contain her desires. Each symbol functions as a cipher, demanding interpretation. Her emotional responses within the dream are as revealing as the symbols themselves. Terror may mask longing, and joy may conceal guilt. When she awakens unsettled, it is because the dream has struck at a truth she is unwilling to face in daylight. Yet even when she dismisses the dream as nonsense, the unconscious has succeeded in its aim. It has made itself known, reminding her that no repression is complete, no desire ever truly silenced. Civilization does not abolish instinct, it merely disguises it. Every society, no matter how refined, demands its members wear masks that conceal the primitive impulses within. These masks are crafted from rules, traditions, and ideals, yet beneath their surface the unconscious continues to throb with ungoverned force. A woman, shaped by these expectations, learns to present herself not as she is but as she must be seen. Her words are measured, her actions restrained, her desires carefully hidden beneath a veil of acceptable behavior. Yet the mask she wears is never fused to her skin. It can slip, crack, or shatter, revealing the primal urges she cannot fully suppress. The mask of civilization provides stability, but it also creates division. On the outside, woman appears composed, dignified, perhaps even indifferent, but within her mind churns a storm of passions and conflicts. This double existence creates tension: the desire to obey the demands of culture on one hand, and the refusal of the unconscious to be silenced on the other. She may smile with politeness while feeling hatred, may bow to duty while longing for rebellion, may nod in loyalty while imagining betrayal. Her outward mask assures society of order, but her inner life is anything but orderly. Every ritual of culture reinforces the mask. Fashion, etiquette, religious practice, and polite speech are all tools that transform raw instinct into socially acceptable expression. A gesture of affection becomes ritualized as courtesy. A longing glance becomes reduced to harmless conversation. Passion is redirected into art, devotion. Yet the original instinct remains unchanged, only concealed. The mask is not a cure but a disguise. The unconscious still beats behind the veil, waiting for the moment when control weakens and instinct rises to the surface. Dreams, slips of the tongue, and sudden bursts of emotion are often moments when the mask falters. A dream reveals the desire she denies. A mistaken word exposes what she thought was hidden. A sudden outburst of tears or anger shatters the composure she worked to maintain. In these moments, the truth of the unconscious leaks through, reminding her that the mask cannot completely control what lies beneath. These fractures are feared, but they are also inevitable. The weight of repression cannot be carried perfectly, and civilization's demands do not erase instinct, but intensify its pressure. The mask also changes form depending on the stage upon which she stands. In public, it is heavy and flawless, a costume of respectability. In private, it grows thinner, more fragile, sometimes slipping entirely. With strangers, the mask is rigid, but with lovers it cracks, and with herself, it often dissolves in solitude. This shifting mask reveals that civilization is not a fixed shield, but a flexible covering, adjusted constantly to hide the same desires that society forbids. A woman may live her entire life balancing these variations, moving between stages, adjusting her appearance, yet never erasing the tension between her inner impulses and the outer role she must perform. Even the arts and institutions that claim to elevate human behavior are not free from this masking process. Love poetry, religious hymns, and noble traditions are themselves sublimated forms of instinct, disguising desire in the language of beauty, devotion, or duty. A rose offered in courtly romance still conceals longing. A hymn sung in worship may conceal fear or craving for power. Civilization refines expression, but cannot transform its essence. The mask, no matter how elegant, always covers the same primal face beneath. Human life is shaped by a struggle that never resolves, a battle that defines not only society, but also the individual mind. Instinct demands satisfaction, immediate and unrefined, while order demands restraint, structure, and obedience to rules that preserve stability. A woman caught in this eternal conflict becomes a living battlefield between these two forces. Her instincts, inherited from the primal depths of humanity, call her toward pleasure, intimacy, rebellion, and raw expression. Yet order, established by civilization, compels her to silence these calls, to dress them in acceptable forms, or to deny them altogether. This conflict creates within her both suffering and identity, for she cannot escape either side of the struggle. Instinct speaks in the language of urgency. It is felt as hunger, longing, rage, jealousy, desire, and need. It is unfiltered, unconcerned with morality, blind to consequence. When instinct surges, it overwhelms reason, and the body acts before the mind can justify. A woman may find herself staring longer than she should, speaking words she did not mean to reveal, or stepping into choices she later regrets. In such moments, instinct asserts its ancient power, reminding her that beneath every layer of culture lies a creature untamed. These instincts, however, are not shameful in themselves. They are the truth of life's raw energy, the very forces that sustain human survival and continuity. Without them, civilization would have no foundation. Yet in their ungoverned form, they would dissolve civilization into chaos. Order rises in opposition, not to destroy instinct, but to restrain and shape it. Religion, law, family, and custom, all these pillars of order exist to tame the wildness of human nature. For a woman, order dictates loyalty, patience, chastity, respectability, and countless unspoken rules that guide her conduct. Order whispers that instinct must be hidden behind smiles, disguised in rituals, or transformed into art service or ambition. It imposes guilt where there is desire, shame where there is curiosity, fear where there is rebellion. To live within order is to accept a mask of control. Beneath that mask, instinct still burns. The conflict, therefore, is never resolved but only delayed, displaced, or disguised. This eternal struggle plays out in her relationships, her choices, and her dreams. When instinct rises, she feels the pull of freedom and the danger of collapse. When order dominates, she feels the safety of structure and the weight of suffocation. Her loyalty may be genuine, yet her fantasies betray her. Her obedience may be sincere, yet her restless heart reveals otherwise. Every moment of her life is a negotiation between these two forces, and every act of repression only strengthens the power of what is denied. The tension creates creativity as well as suffering. Instinct, forced into disguise by order, finds expression in symbols, metaphors, and art. A longing she cannot admit may appear in a dream, in a poem, or in a fleeting gesture she does not fully understand. Order, in attempting to silence instinct, unintentionally gives birth to culture itself, for all great traditions, laws, and creations are born from the attempt to channel the wild. Thus, the very conflict that torments her also defines her humanity. The eternal conflict does not belong to her alone, but is shared by all. Yet within her, it is lived in the intimacy of silence, where no one can see the private war. Her face may appear calm, her actions respectable, but within her, instinct continues to whisper and order continues to command. Neither can win, for to lose either would destroy the balance of existence. To lose instinct would mean the death of vitality, to lose order would mean the collapse of structure. And so she remains divided, carrying within her the timeless struggle between the wildness of desire and the weight of restraint. The female psyche, as revealed through this hidden architecture of repression, desire, conflict, and instinct, cannot be reduced to simple notions of purity or temptation. It exists in a constant dialogue between what is permitted and what is forbidden, between the mask she must wear and the impulses that rise from within. This tension is not an error of her being, but the very essence of her existence. For repression gives shape to passion, and passion demands the barriers of restraint to gain intensity. She becomes the stage upon which civilization and instinct wrestle endlessly. Her longing, her silence, her contradictions. These are not accidents of her nature, but the language through which the unconscious speaks. Behind every gesture lies a concealed drama. Behind every word, a shadow of what remains unsaid. To understand her, one must not look only at the visible surface of her actions, but also at the invisible world that throbs beneath. Her psyche is a cathedral where prayers of restraint echo alongside the whispers of hidden desire, where masks of obedience conceal the tremors of instinct, and where the eternal conflict between what is demanded of her and what surges within her continues without resolution. It is within this unending tension that her truth lies, fragile, paradoxical, and yet undeniably powerful.